Wade, how useful was having a County Cup game on Tuesday night to, get Saturday out the system a little bit, if you like?
It was useful. It was useful in terms of giving some people some minutes. It wasn't initially. It was scheduled. It would have been predominantly. It would have been an 18s game, but obviously their Youth Cup game was rearranged, so we had to fill it. We had to field a slightly different team to what would have been anticipated. But it was useful in terms of a training match and to get some people minutes, and I think that match was more useful than they got more out of that than they would have out of training.
And how's Alfie May come through it?
Alfie's felt his ankle a little bit, so that was always the risk. He's worked really hard to be ahead of schedule, but he's just got a little bit of stiffness in his ankle, so Alfie won't make the weekend.
I mean, that's a blow, because he's such a figurehead for the team, isn't he?
Yeah, Alfie's a good player, but I can sit here and I can talk about who we haven't got, or I can work with who we have got, and we've still got a team and a squad capable of going to Ipswich and having a right good go.
You're not feeling sorry for yourself. How important is it that the players don't as well?
Off the back of the weekend?
Yeah, and also with Alfie still out as well.
I don't think they'll feel sorry for Alfie. I think one or two of them will see it as an opportunity for them to play. I think that's how footballers think. In terms of the weekend, I haven't picked up on people feeling sorry for themselves. We underperformed. We know that. The start of the weekend and the start of the week was tough. You're licking your wounds, but you have to use it as fuel to go into the weekend's game.
And in a way, is Ipswich kind of the ideal game where no one gives you a chance?
Who's not giving us a chance, Paul?
Well, it's one of those where, if you like, the pressure's off a little bit, isn't it? You've just got to go out and perform, and anything you do gets a bonus.
I think what we've done is we've shown that we can, when we're at it, and the team reaches a level of performance that they're capable of, we can compete with anybody in the division. I think what we've also learned from the weekend is that when we underperform, we can be beat by anybody. So the challenge to me and to everyone is to make sure that whatever 11 we put out, whatever 18 we take down there, performs their optimum. And I think if we do that, then we can give Ipswich a game.
What's the secret to trying to get that sort of level of consistency that you want from the players? I mean, because you'll look presumably at patterns and things that you've done and things that have worked, and then sort of, is it trying to spot what works and then just repeat it?
Wow, that's the beauty of football, isn't it? You've got, in any team sport, you can work on your patterns, and your patterns can work one week, but you'll come up against a completely different opposition and a completely different skill set the next week. So I think the big thing, Paul, is outside of tactics and everything else, it's mindset, confidence. I think the mental side of it is probably the key thing.
What do you make of Ipswich? Obviously, they're flying high in the table, as probably most people would expect them to be.
I think what you'd expect. They're a big club in the league. I think Kieran came in last season, and you look at them in terms of their starting 11. They haven't changed massively from midway through last season, but what he has done is he's been able to bring in two or three key players that fit the system that he wanted to play, gave him the characteristics that he wanted to make the system work, and they look a really good unit, good strength in depth, lots of different attacking options, and a good structure behind them.
Last year, I think it was 2-2 there, wasn't it? So
0-0.
Is there? Sorry, 0-0.
0-0.
You still got the point. How much confidence can you take from that? Because obviously, I said earlier, the pressure's off. No one expects you to go there and get anything. But there'll be players in the camp who obviously know that they can.
Yeah, there'll be. I think off the top of my head, I think there'll be four or five who played. Certainly, Lewis played there last season. Don't think Longy did. I think Lewis and Rags played. Reece Hutchinson played. Bonzi played. I think there'll be 3 or 4 around the squad who played there last year. But like I said to you earlier, I think the group that we've got now have shown that when they're at it, they're capable of competing with anybody.
How's Ryan Jackson after having to go off last Saturday?
No, Jacko's still, he's got a lot better, but like he's still a bit of pain with his back. His back just locked up, which there's not much you can do about that.
Everyone else okay from the group that you've been selecting from of late?
TP still struggling. I think apart from that, it's be a similar squad to the weekend. Obviously, I think it'll be similar squad to the weekend. Obviously, Caleb had a concussion, so no Caleb, no Jacko, no TP, no Alfie.
How much of the team talk then is right? Or how much actually does the team almost pick itself for you?
No, we've still got I think we've got a squad of 20 training today. So we've still got options within the squad. We've still got variety in different ways we can set up.
Thanks, Wade. Good luck.
Cheers, Paul.
Wait, did Caleb get that during the game last week? And how's Ben Williams? Because he obviously came off with a bang to the head as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Ben's fine. Caleb has a different protocol because he's under 19. So you have to take slightly longer with, not juniors, but because of the age bracket, Caleb's return to play protocol is different to Ben's.
I was going to ask about the team from last year at Ipswich, because I thought when I initially looked at it, there's only Lewis really who's guaranteed to start from last season, and although a couple of others you mentioned are in contention, it does show, although that was only in February, it does show how much the squad's changed in a relatively short period of time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think you look at Ipswich's team. Their expected team is probably 3 changes. So they've tweaked what they're on that cycle where they're building and tweaking. We've had a bit of change in the squad. I think we know that. We talked about that. It's a good opportunity for this group to go to Ipswich and show what they're capable of.
Dan looked like he had a gash last week. How is he?
No, he's been good. He got looked after Monday, Tuesday. Got stitched up, cleaned up. He trained non-contact Tuesday. Trained Thursday. He'll train today. He's absolutely fine.
And with Alfie, obviously it's a blow, but you've always got to strike that balance, haven't you, between easing somebody back in, otherwise you'll never get them up to full fitness, but I suppose there's always a risk that might have a bit of a setback.
Yeah, it was, to be fair, we had to drag Alfie off on Tuesday. He was desperate to stay on and clock up more minutes, and we dragged him off, got him off, and it was only the next morning he woke up and he felt a little bit sore. But listen, Alfie's 4 weeks ahead of schedule, so we knew that there's a chance that might happen. In the grand scheme of things, even if we're careful of Alfie for another week, he's still worked really hard to get back ahead of where he should have been.
A couple of lads featured on Tuesday that have been out on loan. You mentioned Reece Hutchinson earlier, Dylan Barker. Are they back with you full time now, or do you think there's a chance they might go back out on loan pretty soon?
No, I think for the here and now, they're both in. They're both here. They're both around the squad. I think we'll assess loans as and when it happens. Obviously, we're a little bit. Essentially, we've got 20 training today, so they both come into the thinking.
Yeah, I thought Dylan had a decent game at the back on Tuesday. Do you, and he played there a lot in pre-season, didn't he? Obviously, he will always be able to do a job in midfield, but are you sort of quite keen to keep testing him in the back three? Do you think he could have a future there?
That was the thought in pre-season, was that Dylan had played midfield. He has got attributes to be a middle centre half because he's comfortable on the ball and he's obviously got the physicality. Could we give him a window to play there and see how he develops? And he's done all right there. He's done okay there, Dylan. He's obviously still learning the role. There are times where he gets caught out a little bit, or he makes the wrong decision in possession. But that's why he's had that opportunity to play there and learn the role.
Last season, you did a great job of frustrating Ipswich, so much so that they were chanting "boring, boring Cheltenham," which are pretty music to your ears last season. And I think it's going to be 25,000 plus there on Saturday. So, how important is it that you do another good job of frustrating what's going to be a big crowd?
Well, we'll have to be. They're a big team in the league and they're a good side, so we're not expecting to go there and it be easy. It'll be tough, and we'll come under a bit of pressure, I'm sure. So we'll go there and we'll look to be organised and we'll look to be together, but we want to carry a threat going the other way as well. And it's a brilliant game. Like you said, there'll be 25,000 there. I remember Ipswich in the Premier League and playing in Europe, and they're the games that our lads want to play in.
4 points from Ipswich last season, and the home game was the sort of, I felt, the night Cheltenham arrived in League One, wasn't it? That result, getting a 2-1 win, coming back after they dominated the first half. That was a big turning point in the season, wasn't it? Did you feel fairly early on?
Yeah, probably. I think that probably gave the group that we had at the time, it gave them a shot of belief. So obviously we came into the league not knowing what the level was, or I'm talking as a player, could we compete? And obviously you get Ipswich at home with the calibre of Ipswich. Really good on the night, 1-0 down, came back, won it 2-1, and then I think players do start believing, yeah, we belong and we can compete at the level. So the Ipswich result coming when it did, I think, was a shot in the arm for everybody.
Just finally, Wade, it's a lengthy trip, isn't it? Are you training in Cheltenham this morning and then heading off to Suffolk?
Yep, we're on the grass in about 15 minutes, and then we'll look to get on the road as soon as possible. I like the players get there, then get their work done. They can chill out on the bus, reflect on what we've done, and get themselves ready to put a proper shift in tomorrow afternoon.